Hello, welcome back. I'll assume that you've watched the Windows install guide and maybe you want to run this in Linux. It does run perfectly fine. There's nothing different between installing it on Linux and using it on Windows 11. Your mileage may vary depending on, desktop manager, yada yada. So anyway, let's get to it. First thing we're going to do, we're going to look at the dependencies for wine. So on Arch, that command is pacman-s capital S lowercase I wine. It tells us it's in the multi-lib repository. That's not one that's on by default. You will have to enable it. It tells us where it comes from, the version, yada yada. So this depends on the following right here. And another one that I run into with KDE Plasma is KDialog is also required for the dialog boxes. Wine just kind of assumes you already have that installed. So next thing we'll want to do, aside from winetricks, in here we need new TLS. This facilitates the connection between the patcher and the server and all that stuff. So without it, you're not going to connect to anything. And then you've also got your audio plugins. So also lib, also plugins, and 32-bit libraries for those. I'm using Pulse Audio, so I'm going to install libpulse and lib32-libpulse. There's some other stuff in there, but we won't really need it. So on Arch, the command is sudo pacman-s. We're going to tell it we want winetricks, new TLS, as well as our audio. You see it's already typed out. I've done this before, you can tell. There, you run that, and we got a warning here that basically these are installed. So, and it's the most current version, so we're good there. It would have been a 1.5 gig install, so we're just going to cancel this for now. And we're going to assume winetricks as installed, and we're going to just open that guy. You can also just launch that from the launcher menu or your quick launch, whatever you want to do. So what do we want to do? You'll notice I have a few instances in here already. 7 through 10 is for testing, different mods and such, audio tweaks, whatever. And I've got some other wine prefixes. We're going to create a new wine prefix here. And it's 64-bit by default. We're just going to keep that. I have not tested the 32-bit. 64-bit works perfectly fine. So we're going to name it HS install guide because that's what we're doing today. And then it's going to tell us it's going to create the wine prefix 64-bit architecture. And we're just going to wait here. All right, it's going to warn us you are using a 64-bit wine prefix. The only thing you can hit is OK, so go ahead and click that. Another one is the Windows on Windows 64 mode. Yep, OK, just go through that. Then we're given this menu here. So we'll start from the top. We're going to install a font. And that font is the MS Consolus. Consolus? Someone's going to correct me either way. Yep. We're still in 64-bit. We got it. Yep, we know. Then it'll tell us that it's going to hang the all wine processes until this is finished, basically. If you look here in the terminal, you notice it's installing some fonts. All right. And for my screen, because I game at 4K, I'm going to go into wine config here. It's kind of a tiny window up in the corner, right? I mean, it's a good size. You can read all the words, but we want it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to actually crank this bad boy to 144 DPI. That's just kind of the setting I found works for me. You can turn this down or up, depending what works better for you. What this does for us is it actually scales the font up better than the client can handle. So you can make it slightly larger on bigger screens. And if you have any problems with audio, you can go over here and set it. Like, for instance, it only comes out through the speakers, but you want it to come through your Bluetooth headset. So I just kind of leave everything by default. So we're going to just close that. And finally, we're going to open the Explorer. This is exactly what you think it is. It's going to open a File Explorer window. You notice how nice and big that is now. That's that 144 DPI working for us. I got DPS on the brain. And we're going to go into, I've made a folder on the desktop with everything we're going to need. So what you have here, we got from the website. It's hostile space. Let's zoom up here. hostilespace.co.uk. And we're going to go to the download section. This is where I got these files. So the NSIS installer, HSR client setup full, under step 1 is what you want to download. There's a no music one. Not sure what that's for. Anyway. Next, we'll go down, skip this section. It kind of repeats what's above and below, but this is nicely formatted. So under number 1, we have the prerequisites, which is our Visual Studio 2013 and 2015. So when you go to these and you click download, you'll be given a couple of options here. This one's got, the version for ARM, the version for x86 64. We're going to want the x86 for both of these, so just download those. You saw I already have, so we're just going to go to the next one. Again, x86, download that. There we go. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, these packages exist on other operating systems. So this is Void Linux. So you have new TLS. Oh, well, if you type it right, it shows up. libpulse is in there. Now you notice it's not called libpulse, it's called libpulse audio. So you might have to search your package repository for the specific version of what you're looking for. So there's winetricks is in there, and protontricks. New TLS, I think, was up from the get-go. So yeah. And this will also tell you which repository it's in. So let's get rid of that. All right, so we're going to start with the smaller package, the one without the underscore between the VC and the redist. That's our 2013. You can agree to the license term in terms of conditions because that's what you have to do to run Hostile Space. There's some stuff in here that kind of makes me want to move to Australia. Or was it? Yeah. You have statutory guarantees under the Australian consumer law. Nothing in these terms is intended to affect those rights. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, go Australia. Anyway, click the box, hit install, hit close. Next one, again, click the box, hit install, click close, and we're ready to run the HSR client setup full.exe. Welcome to Hostile Space Revived. Okay, so by default, it puts it in our local app data. Just keep going. I do turn off the desktop shortcut shortcuts, because I don't like anything on my desktop. So you notice I just kind of have a nice, I was messing with that earlier. Nice clean desktop here when I'm not shooting Hostile Space Revived install guides. Anyway, next, it was 132.5 megabytes that were going to be installed. Yeah, megabytes. The whole install is 150 meg. From here, actually, we're going to just close this down, minimize that for right now. And I just checked the box, run Hostile Space Revive, because I didn't make a desktop shortcut to run it from. Now, it is in the launcher menu. So I kind of run the patcher first. This does the same thing. So then it's going to start. It's going to tell us that we're on 363 of 394. We'll start our downloads. This process doesn't take too long if you have even a semi-good network connection. Again, it's only about 20 megabytes that it's downloading. We're just going to fast forward through this right now. And once it's done, our client will pop up into the launcher. You can see some files being checked and the game being loaded. And this is what you're greeted with. So from here, I kind of like to do a couple things, set my video resolution to something above the default. So again, I found that the best graphics in this game is at about 1080p, and we've got the 144 DPI making it slightly larger, so you notice it kind of takes up more of the screen than it should. You can also go in here and mess with. So we installed the consoleless font. This is the default in the client. So it's all pixel rendered. And then we can turn on the true type, which gives us a slightly better thing here. I also, you can turn off the screen space vignette. Again, I'm going to be corrected by someone, so I don't even care. Vignette. I turn that off because it's kind of dark on my screen. I don't like it. You can also turn the shaders off. This gets rid of the effect when you cloak or when you get too near sun if you want it to be more like the classic hostile space. There's some other options in here we can mess with later, but yeah, there you go.